Now, when we focus on Walt Whitman or Walt Whitman's "Oh Captain, My Captain," I need to talk about two things. Number one is definitely Walt Whitman's most famous, in fact, Walt Whitman's magnum opus or masterpiece, which is definitely Leaves of Grass, a collection of poems, a series of poems compiled in a book in an anthology called The Leaves of Grass. All right. Other than that, uh, we'll come to Leaves of Grass and the idea that between projects, but we need to understand the time period in which Whitman is writing and the time period in which this poem is located, because "Oh Captain, My Captain" remains till date to be one of the most well read, most popular, and most critically discussed poems of Whitman. Now, the poem was published primarily in 1865, revised in 1866, and then again revised in 1871. So Whitman revised the poem thrice. Now, why I mention the year of the poem, usually I don't when I explain, because years are something you easily get in Google. So I don't need to emphasize on that. But in this case, 1865 remains to be one of the most important dates in the history of literature and the history of American civilization. And I'll come to that. The period in which Whitman is writing is known for the American Civil War. Now, what is Civil War? Why was it fought? The word civil or civil war directly refers or alludes to a war inside, a war among the civilians. So, a civil war does not involve nations, continents, countries, or territories. A civil war merely deals with nothing but a fight, an internal conflict between two regions within one space. Now, why was a civil war fought? If you remember the discussion we had about the American history, you would also recall that I had told you about the slave trade. Remember the triangular trade route across the Atlantic that I was discussing? Now, with this, what happened is the entire economic structure of America started getting topsy-turvy. The reason is always the economy was controlled by the industrious and industrial north. You should know the difference between the word industrious and industrial. One deals with industry, another deals with skill and hard work. Now, the North had always monopolized the economy because the North was rich. The North had established industries, the North had established governance. As a result, the North, it was always the North which was controlling the South. The South was always dominated, uh, subjugated, because the economy of the South primarily dealt with agriculture. So naturally, the the affluence will be limited. Now, with time, what happened is because of the exploitation of slaves in the north, this is basically the power structure across the world. No matter the power resides in the hands of the rich, but it is always the lower classes who hold the act. ওরা কাজ না করলে বড় লোকরা খেতে পাবে না, because they are the workers. Now, when the workers started exploding because of the menial treatment meted out to them, They started raising their voice, they started protesting, and as a result, the efficacy of the North declined, deteriorated, because the dependence of the North's affluence was on the South. সাউথে যতটা প্রোডাকশন হবে সেই অনুযায়ী তো ইন্ডাস্ট্রি চলবে। সো প্রোডাকশন ইউনিটে বা প্লান্টেশনসে এত মিনিয়ালি এত টর্চার করা হতো অন দ্য স্লেভস দ্যাট দে স্টার্টেড রাইজিং against the power structure. As a result, when production declined, there was a furor, there was a feud between the North and the South. The money in the North started declining, whereas South started becoming self-governed units, because these small spaces started declaring their own independence. Understand what is happening? North থেকে demand rise করছে, because demand rise করছে, torture on the slaves are increasing. না আমি এই নর্থের against প্রোটেস্ট বানাচ্ছি, আমাকে সাপ্লাই দিতে হচ্ছে না। As a result, the pressure reduces. However, not going into the details, you'll get the details of civil war in the internet. The the North and the South waged war against each other. The North and the South waged a war against each other. And as a result, there was a huge feud. And Abraham Lincoln played a major role in resolving the conflicts. Now, 1865 marks the end of the Civil War. With Civil War ending and in the process of resolving problems and conflicts and issues, Abraham Lincoln died. Walt Whitman writes this poem, "O Captain, My Captain," dedicating it to the death of Abraham Lincoln. So, "O Captain, My Captain" is a poem written in dedication to Abraham Lincoln. Okay. Now, Lincoln was definitely a captain, and because he was a captain, he was being mourned upon as the demise of power. So, what Whitman is talking about in this poem is basically the fact that war has ended, war has ceased, but যার জন্যে এত কিছু হলো, he is no more. He lies dead and motionless. Now, you have to tell me which kind of a poem is this? What kind of a poem is written in the memory or dedicating it to a dead person? Who can tell me? It is an elegy. You are close by. Eulogy doesn't necessarily refer to dead people. It is an elegy. All right. Now, this is an elegy written by Abraham Lincoln. I'm so sorry. An elegy written by Walt Whitman in memory of Abraham Lincoln. The poem is unique because it is written in a very conventional pattern. Conventional pattern বলতে আমি যেটা মিন করতে চাইছি, it is written in a very typically rhythmic fashion, which was not the convention or not the way in which poems were written after the in the late Victorian period. এই সময় থেকে কিন্তু আস্তে আস্তে রাইম স্ট্রাকচারস ভাঙা শুরু হয়েছে, And Whitman is mostly a very, very modern poet. So Whitman does not write in rhyme schemes and meters. So criticsরা অনেকেই বলেছে that this is not a very characteristic poem of Lincoln because it is not written in the typical style in which Whitman writes. But nevertheless, this becomes a very popular choice for poem lovers and readers and also syllabus setters, which is why you have it in your syllabus. He writes, "O Captain, my Captain, our fearful ship is done. The ship has weathered every rack. The prize we sought is won." Now, by as I said, the entire poem is metaphorical. The poem is written in a metaphorical fashion with double meaning. Trip symbolizes the trip to the battlefield, the physical trip, as well as the psychological journey through the process of battle. Secondly, you have to follow the words, okay? The ship has weathered every rack. প্রত্যেকটা কোনায় কোনায় the ship is damaged, weathered, tired, exhausted. And this is also an epithet because it is not only the ship that is exhausted, the people in the ship is also exhausted. The prize we sought is won. The prize is the resolution and ending of civil war. Remember, civil war is one of the costliest war ever fought in America. It drained away all resources, money, finances, and human lives. Lakhs of soldiers died in civil war. So Whitman is thanking Abraham Lincoln for playing a major role in the cessation of civil war. While follow eyes the steady keel, keel is again the bottom of the ship, the vessel grim and daring. The vessel, the ship. And remember, by ship, he also metaphorically alludes to Lincoln, who almost carried the entire battalion in his own hands. He was serious and he was daring. When we use the word vessel, vessel is definitely a synonym of the word ship, but vessel is also a container. So if Lincoln is a vessel, it also means that he contained the entire responsibility within of resurrecting his tribe, his people. But oh heart, 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 oh the bleeding drops of red, when on the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. This stanza is an example of anticlimax or bathos, okay? Bathos, before Bombay. Anticlimax or bathos. There's a decline, there's a sense of decline, fall. বলছে সবটা ভালো হতো, but my heart bled when we saw that on the deck our captain lied, fallen cold and dead. Oh captain, my captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up. For you the flag is flung. For you the bugle trills. Bugle, the war trumpet, the instrument. But dear captain, please rise up. Wake up and hear the bells tolling. It is for you that the flag of independence is floating. It is for you that the bugle could be blown again. For you bouquets and ribboned wreaths. See how beautifully the two flower metaphors, or the flower images rather, are juxtaposed in one line. Bouquets are flowers for felicitation, and wreaths are flowers to garland the dead body. wreath মানে জানি তো ফুলের বেড়ি যেগুলো ডেড বডির উপরে দেওয়া হয়। সো তোমার জন্যই বুকে এসছে, আবার তোমার জন্যই ঋতও এসছে। পিপল হু হ্যাড কাম টু ফেলিসিটেট ইউ হ্যাভ অলসো কাম টু grace you with your on your corpse. For you, the shores are crowding. For you, the call, the swaying mass, their eager faces turning. Here, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. But here, Captain, dear father, মাথার নিচে হাত দিয়ে তুমি শুয়ে পড়েছো, মনে হচ্ছে স্বপ্ন দেখছো ডেকে শুয়ে। And the word dream is very important for three reasons. Number one, it could also be the attempt to protect the American dream. What is the American dream? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Please note down. The American dream is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So that's one reference. Secondly, Lincoln, of course, this is also contextualized with the American dream. Abraham Lincoln dreamt of the Civil War ending. The poet imagines that he is lying on the deck, মাথার তলায় হাত দিয়ে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্ট আমেরিকার স্বপ্ন দেখছে, পিসফুল আমেরিকার স্বপ্ন দেখছে, দেখতে দেখতেই হয়তো মরে গেছে। So from the land of dreams, he journeyed into the land of death. In an attempt to achieve his dream, he went into eternal slumber. Can you understand how American images are a bit different? British poems এর images এরকম হয় না। এই multi-layered images গুলো American poem এর characteristic. You have to decode them. All right. So that is the kind of image being used. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. Look at how the poet beautifully takes the poem from the level of nationhood to a personal level. The captain becomes the father. So he not only sees Lincoln as the captain, he sees Lincoln on a very personal level. He adores Lincoln as someone he would look up to. বলছে আমার arm feel করছে না. Somebody who promoted fraternity does not feel the touch or warmth of his own countrymen. The ship is anchored, safe and sound, its voyage closed and done. So the journey that Lincoln started, the ship symbolizes metonymically the journey. The journey that Lincoln started was not at all incomplete. He had executed the journey well. He had reached a perfect closure to the dream that he wanted to achieve, but he couldn't live long to see it achieved. That is the irony here, and that is what the poet is sad about. He is sad about the fact that Lincoln died, but he is also sad, and he is in fact sadder about the fact that Lincoln could not live to see the achieved dream. So Lincoln had safely harbored the ship. He had been the captain of the tumultuous ship that did not know its way, that was stuck in the storm. So, what is the ship here? The ship is America. The ship is America itself. In a tumultuous state, he held the rudder, he held the oar, and controlled the ship of the nation as a captain, harbored and anchored it safely, but he himself did not live to see that safe and peaceful America. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object one. Exalt, O shores, and ring, O bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck, my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. But yes, there is exaltation. Yes, there is jubilance everywhere. Yes, there is excitement. There would be bells of victory. There would be clarions and trumpets. But I would walk the deck. What is the deck? If America is a ship, the deck is the soil of America. So Whitman says that I would forever tread, and tread is a walk with difficulty. So I would always have a difficult journey on the deck of the ship, that is on the soils of America, without my captain, without my father, because he lies in the American soil, cold and dead. He lies on the deck forever. Deck is the American soil, cold and dead. That's it. Thank you.